This one is even simpler. As I said to you, in some situation like the track and trace, we don't really care very much about privacy. We want to keep privacy, but it's less important than the previous case, than your money, you know, than your degree result, something like that. And also, because this thing, we are implementing it in a care home environment, in a very small kind of tight community, they know each other anyways. And also, because if you all the time you have to check the fingerprint, you know, you want to check the name, that sort of thing, it put a lot of pressure on the care home, you see. You know, a care home, the care home we talked to, they have 6 entrances. Even with 1 entrance, they don't have the resources to, you know, to manpower 24/7 to check, you know, the identity of whoever comes in. So we implement this track and trace in a very lightweight, very easy to use, the logistic is very simple. So it's still thinking about it. Let's wait for it to think. I have previously, I've downloaded some screen. Yeah, so this is what you're supposed to see when the system updated. So this is the visitor screen. So for example, if you look at this picture, well, at the bottom, it's supposed to say Alice. Yeah, and then I'm visiting Heathland. Heathland is the, so as you can see, contact EnduringNet if you want to onboard your location. So here, I was just thinking, if we draw the parallel in India, so this might be the different factories or different places where they work, they contributed to the supply chain. We can think about maybe, you know, this is the part of the garment, and then this is footwear or something. You have to, later on, we have to think about the imagination, how to register this. So in this situation, we have one particular care home, and then this is the history, the visit history of Alice. Unfortunately, I chopped out the word Alice. I think, let me see if it's here. Yeah, so this is updated now. So you can see at the bottom of this screen, yeah, it will say the visitor is Alice. Okay, and then I'm visiting Figure 10, and I could visit Heathland. So basically the top screen, when you click on Heathland and then you click this thing here, it means that you have checked in. And then I want to check in, this is a cafe, and then I just click here, I checked in. So as you can see, then there's more things pops up here. So in the care home, what they can do is, like, they have 6 entrances. So there are 20 people in the care home might have access to this app. So someone will knock on the door, ring the bell, and then speak to the CCTV or some screen and say, I want to come in. And then the person say, okay, can you check in, please? And then you see that, okay, Alice has checked in, and then you kind of press a button and let Alice come in. So this is the visitor's diary. Yeah, so Alice diary, where Alice had been. And then, so in fact here, yeah, the COVID alert is some alert. Someone tells you that there are 4 places, yeah, 4 buildings here. So this is a cafe, this is a home, and then actually, maybe at the moment you think about home as a supermarket or something. And then Heathland is the care home, and then AMBS is actually the business school. So here you actually got an alert to say that someone visited home has COVID, okay, tested COVID. And then it's telling you that the alerts comes in here. So this screen here is for you to do the alert, yeah. So you know that you know, you might have been exposed to the COVID because you visited these places on these 3 days, and then you can in turn alert someone else. And then here, the room, yeah. Again, maybe we need to wait for it to update it. So again, you can select your own room. One thing I want to mention this to you is that because this whole thing, apart from the effort that put in to build this, running this at the moment is absolutely free. Okay, so EnduringNet is registered with Trinsic, and then there is no limit how many organizations EnduringNet can onboard. So in theory, we can onboard 11,000 care homes. So we have to organize this into like Northwest, Northeast, you know, Scotland, maybe Wales. And then by the time you click, maybe you can have a hometown, and then it's opened up 60 miles region of all the places that you might visit. So we can have endless here, and then the endless visitors, yeah. So now if you're in Heathland, if you click on Heathland, it means that you can alert everyone in Heathland, visited Heathland. So if you click on AMBS, business school, then you can alert everyone visited the business school. So here is telling you who visited Heathland. So in this case, Alice visited yesterday, yeah, or the day before. And then you can change to like 10 days or something like that. And then same thing, and then it gives you a lot of information. The type, it could be, there are 3 types. One is checked in, one is a symptom, and then the other one is tested positive. And then here again, you know, someone is called Tao calling. So it depends on the phone ID. If your phone ID is not recognizable, so this one is Tao calling, actually the name of a person. Yeah, so it's saying that this person is in quarantine, and then it visited you August the 3rd. Sometime it's not in this list. I think if you go for a longer day, you might get it. So here again, you know, you can make a decision whether you want to alert someone else. Yeah, so you can alert Michael or you can alert Alice. Yeah, if you got an alert coming in. So this is it really. So the whole idea is that this is a visitor books, and then the previous one is a visitor diary, travel diary. And then we have a profile here. So you can leave a lot of things blank, but you have to have a phone name. If you don't want to put your names, and then you can put Superman, so long as it's unique, you know. There's only one Superman in the entire EnduringNet database, that will be fine. Or if you want to put something, you know, it's fine as well. I think it accepts some funny code as well if you want. So this is service 0, we're absolutely free. And then the service level 1 is to say that we can calculate some score based on the symptoms. So if you see that if you start to click fever, cough, or something, and then show your score, it will say your score is 10. And then if you have running nose or maybe vomiting, loss of taste or something like that, sore throat, and then why it is smaller? I'm not sure. The higher, the better, or the small. It looks like the smaller the score, the worse. And then the score at some point is going to trigger maybe an alert or maybe stopping you from entering somewhere else. And then there's also a service level 2. In this case, it's actually getting the verifiable credential, the test result. So when you go to this level, it actually costs money, just like the previous presentation that I showed you, that it costs money, because then we have to submit the verification through the cloud. So every communication like this, they have to set up the communication password, the communication ID. I think every query is like less than a cent. However, if you remember that if you run a very big organization and every day you do, you know, submit like 11,000 query or something, then it's going to end up with quite a substantial amount of money. Okay, so that's all about the presentation. I made it within half an hour. Yeah, so now let me stop sharing and go back to the discussion. Nick, what do you think?
So it's quite interesting. The status of this at the moment, Sarpan, is that it's a demonstrator. Is that correct?
The track and trace is ready to use. So we actually can start use it already. Obviously, when I say ready to use, what I mean is we want to run trial with care home. Actually, as I say, you know, about 2 weeks ago, it's completely different. We use a QR code, and then the care home told us they literally can't do it because they got 6 entrances. So then it's completely changed. So when we bring this to them, they might say something else. Do you know what I mean? They might say they want it tighter. They don't want everybody to see this, something like that. Do you know what I mean? So I think when I say ready to use, I mean ready for trial.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And have you kind of worked through in the early days of sort of COVID-19 tracing? I kind of reviewed some of the sovereign thinking on it, and there were a few kind of gaps in that stage, and basically there's a sort of a process or a set of triggers
Yeah.
relating to when you were tested and therefore how valid the results might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for
So
example, you
yeah.
know, incubation is 8 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you haven't been tested in the past, you know, for more than within the last 10 days, then
Yeah.
there's some question mark about the validity
Yeah.
of your
Yeah. So
data.
basically, the negative test result is a piece of information, but positive test results start immediately triggers a lot of things.
Yeah,
Basically, yeah. So, and then it's basically depending on the user how they want to use the information. So, the negative is not very interesting, you know, because you are tested negative in the morning, you can still be infected in the afternoon, isn't it? So yeah, but nowadays, like in the UK, they have a 90-minute test result. So you can do a test and then 90 minutes you get the result. That might be possible. So what, as I say, is just an idea. It gives you lots of information. I think for the care home, for example, they really want to know when it is positive, how widespread, it might be, that sort of thing. And also the other thing is about the other one. The other one is about the vein ID. Yeah, the
yeah,
same thing. You get the credential. So the red one, you know, the Soteria, yeah, is like you based on people clicking the alert. So if you don't want to have people clicking the alert, then you can just use the test result to trigger, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that is the idea. Yeah. So similarly, the vein ID at the moment they are fixing some bugs. So I will have the vein scan and also the tablet delivered to me on Friday, and then next week we'll be taking it out to the care home. Yeah, so it's also ready for trial. So that is why I'm quite excited to some extent to introduce this to the tradecraft colleagues. Not necessarily about the COVID. Obviously, if you are interested in using it for COVID, then you are very, very welcome. We will help you to implement this. But for this meeting, it's more about the idea about how SSI are being used in this context. So you have to remember, we don't say that it is the only thing you use or this is the best thing to do. But this is just one feasible way to do things very quickly because it is not centralized. It doesn't need any bureaucracy. You can just, for the care home, it's almost like they do it voluntarily among themselves. So one of the care home we spoke to, they said that they want to force their visitor to use it. If the visitor don't use it, they can't visit. Yeah. So this is something they want to do. So, so much about this. If you have any questions about SSI, about anything like this, very welcome to give you half an hour tutorial at some point if you want to know specific things. So for me, I still need to do a lot of audit, to say how much information, what information is recorded where, and how the information is get passed on.